So I think the biggest thing that I believe, and I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on this, is the challenge was sequencing. It wasn't leaving. It was in what sequence do we leave? What goes first? What goes last? So do you mind sharing some light on what was the sequence we took and what would have been a better strategy of sequencing in leaving Afghanistan?
For the first time, I would say that the entire trust factor in the Taliban in Pakistan was the beginning of the betrayal. United States somehow, the diplomats of United States who were in the negotiating team, led by Zalmay Khalilzad himself, were almost convinced by the Pakistan ISI, the Pakistani diplomats, and even the Taliban that whatever commitments will happen in Doha will be abided by. Whatever will be signed will be done in letter and spirit. But let's face it, we are talking about Taliban. I mean, people who have been radicalized in different seminaries of both Pakistan as well as in Afghanistan. Those people who are completely illiterate, who only believe in Sharia law. They do not believe in any kind of democracy. They do not believe in any kind of education for the women or equal rights for women. So why did Zalmay Khalilzad and the negotiating team have a blind faith over the last 2 years? And I'll tell you, in 2008, almost this entire process began. I think it was in the mid of 2018 when Zalmay Khalilzad was appointed formally, as a special envoy. And earlier, I think, I don't remember the exact time, but earlier in 2018, I interviewed Zalmay Khalilzad when he was in New Delhi. And the entire half an hour interview, he was slamming Pakistan. He said almost that Pakistan was the mothership of terrorism, the Lashkar-e-Toiba, the Lashkar-e-Jangvi, the Jaish-e-Mohammed, the Haqqani network, and all these terror groups were helped, aided, and supported by Pakistan. And the world, including the United States, including the India and different other countries, need to speak up, need to have a cohesive vision and some kind of a cooperation against these Pakistan-sponsored terrorists. And to the contrary, within a few months, we see a different tune altogether, where Zalmay Khalilzad is in bed with Pakistan, almost convinced at every step, and being almost an envoy of Pakistan in the United States, telling them that we need to trust them. We need to be completely convinced that they will abide by whatever happens. Now, what happened? Taliban said that they will not, kill innocents. They said the suicide bombings will stop. They said the Americans will also not be targeted. But what happened in reality? We had targeted attacks and assassinations taking place, not just in Kabul, but all across Afghanistan. We had not just the NDS and the ANDSF of the Afghan army being attacked, but we also had targeted attacks at Afghan University, American University in Kabul, at hospitals, emergency services, in government buildings, Ministry of Interior, and several other important buildings in Kabul and elsewhere. So where did the Taliban cooperate with the United States? It did not. And still, the United States had only one thing in mind, that we have to somehow leave and vacate, because Joe Biden has been always of the view that, we should not have boots on ground. We are not there to, tackle the internal dynamics of Afghanistan. We are not there to have a democratic government, but we are there to, in fact, launch an attack on Al-Qaeda. Perhaps it ended when Osama bin Laden was killed. And in fact, he was found in Pakistan. So the entire exit strategy collapsed. That is when, when the trust factor was not there, when, of course, any kind of a rapport that was built up in reality wasn't there. I mean, any of the demands of the United States or the negotiating team were not being fulfilled. Then how did the US really trust the Taliban? On the other hand, the Afghan government, be it Ashraf Ghani, be it Amarullah Saleh, be it any of their ambassadors to the UN or to the US or others, or even Hamid Karzai for that matter, and to an extent even Abdullah, if all of them were not on the same page with the Doha agreement, then how did you dare to announce a timeline, abide by the timeline, and actually fulfill that promise given to the Taliban? And it's not just Biden. Trump did the same. Trump and Biden equally shoulder the responsibility of abandoning the innocent Afghans. And what we have seen over the last 1 month or a little more is just a teaser of what the Taliban is really going to do over the many months now. And it's not just the question, Patrick, of Afghanistan. It's the question of the entire regional security. I mean, how much the other terror groups, the Islamist radical Sunni terrorist groups, will get emboldened with the fact that here is a Sharia law that has been applied completely in Afghanistan. We have a safe shelter. We can run terror camps. We can have a hiding space there. And what kind of a defeat that United States has faced, because that is what is the chatter. I've been monitoring the dark web, where not just the Al-Qaeda, the ISIS and other terror groups are active, and they feel emboldened. They see this as a defeat of the United States in Afghanistan, and the hell will break loose now, because there are two countries that are completely focused on diplomatically and otherwise supporting the Taliban. One is Pakistan, obviously, and second, of course, is China. Now, China, I don't know how they will do this, how they will be the next, so-called superpower to actually enter Afghanistan, or whether they will, because it is only going to be a one-way investment. It's going to be a very tricky affair. It's going to be a very tricky affair.
So if you like this little short clip from an interview I did, click over here to watch the entire interview. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.